welcome back to the Behind the Scenes podcast. My name is Mackenzie Smolin, and we're back with Micheal and Rhonda Spencer. I'll never get used to calling you two that, ever. But today we're going to play a little game to open up the episode. So we've got cards in front of you guys, and one of you is going to read it, and the other one's going to finish the sentence and answer it. So the questions should be pretty easy. They should be pretty easy because you two have been married for over 30 years. So they should be pretty easy.
Almost 32? Ooh.
That's wild. That's wild to me. So
it is wild because I'm not old enough.
No.
How does that work?
You shouldn't be old enough.
How have I been married as long as I've been alive? I don't know.
No, don't answer that.
I'm not saying a word.
Okay, so I guess you can go first, Pastor.
My coffee order is...
Oh, his coffee order. See, it changes and gravitates through the years. Currently today, I would say, well, sometimes it's cream and sugar, raw sugar specifically, not regular sugar, raw sugar. Is that what you have today? Is cream and sugar? Light roast, cream and sugar.
Yes.
Okay.
Bam.
But sometimes it's just light roast, no cream, and just sugar.
Not usually even sugar.
Right.
I'm using that.
Oh, yeah, monk fruit.
Monk fruit.
Monk fruit.
It's
I forgot all about
disgusting.
that.
Don't buy it.
What is it?
It's like a fruit, but it's
a
a
natural
substitute.
sweetener.
It's an all-natural sweetener that's not, like they say stevia is all natural. And I did research on it, and it actually is. It's a leaf. It's all natural until you make it into powder.
Until you process
That
it.
makes sense.
Then you put all these chemicals in that aren't even FDA approved.
Oh, I've had stevia in my coffee before.
It's
and
horrible.
It's very strong.
Oh my goodness, the aftertaste
And
is horrible.
yeah, the aftertaste is very
And
weird.
monk fruit really does have an aftertaste, but at least it's healthy aftertaste.
Yeah.
And so I've tried to trick my brain, which doesn't work when I go out.
No?
No. Only in the morning because I'm still in a stupor.
Oh, that makes sense. No, we need the real thing here. Okay, Pastor Anna, go ahead. Next card.
Ain't nothing but the real thing,
You'll
baby.
know this one. My favorite color is
Blue.
Pastor Spencer, Michael, James. What is my favorite color? You know the answer to this.
Pink.
Oh, my word. I'm not Sophia. That's Sophia's favorite color. What's my favorite color?
Tangerine.
Oh, my goodness.
Play the game, Pastor. Play the game.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Are you
Everybody
serious?
knows.
You don't know what my favorite color is? All right.
Wow, that's
What is it?
tragic. We're not
I'm not
keeping
telling
score,
you.
but if we were, you'd get like a negative.
Yes. Yes. I think that should be like a minus 3 point.
Yeah,
Because it
that's
is
wild.
like anybody that
Black.
barely knows me would know what my favorite color
not
is.
black.
Yellow.
Yes, it's
yellow.
yellow, but it took you 12 guesses to get there. So
I guess negative half a point then, since you finally
not
got to
bad,
it.
I got that.
All right, Pastor, let's get some redemption going.
My favorite book besides the Bible is...
My Side of the Mountain.
Who's that? Who does that?
That is a very old book
a
that I
classic
stole from the
novel.
library when I was probably 6 years old.
Oh my gosh.
It's an old classic about a boy who escapes from New York City because his house is crowded with brothers and sisters, and he goes to the Catskills Mountains, and he burrows a hole into a tree, and he lives out in the woods all winter long in a tree, captures a falcon, and catches
Comes
animals.
his friend.
Is this a children's book?
No,
It's just a classic novel.
You just stole it when you were 6? Could you read it then?
I don't know, but I stole it and used to listen to... what music did I used to listen
No.
to?
All right. Anyways, this is about a book. Let's move on.
Go
Am I
ahead,
right?
Pastor
Is
Rhonda.
that your favorite book? I mean, it was at one point.
Whatever she says.
Okay. Lesson 1 for marriage topic. Whatever she
That's
says.
not how the game works.
Wow. Okay, go
Good.
ahead. Next card.
My favorite place for date night is
Yours? Mm-hmm. Oh, the ocean.
date night. I mean, yeah, vacation, date night. When I can't get to the ocean.
The motorcycle.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Absolutely.
My favorite meal you prepare for me is...
Oh, that you prepare for me?
No, that you prepare for him.
Oh.
Yes.
He's laughing because I no longer prepare meals.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't say
I
nothing.
did actually cook for the first time. No, I do. I prepare meals on Friday and Sunday, but it would be breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Breakfast.
What kind of things do you do for breakfast?
Eggs. He likes eggs poached with toast. That's one of his favorite.
Ask her when the last time she made that.
I'm not going to do that. Wow. Okay, go ahead, Pastor Rhonda. Your card.
If I were to go on vacation alone, I would go to
The beach.
Any favorite beach in particular?
No, she just likes anything that's beach.
Yes, this is true.
Do you like lake beaches or
No,
ocean beaches?
ocean
Ocean.
only.
Ocean. Okay.
Remember, she's from Miami. That's where she was born.
Oh, right.
So it's in her blood.
Gotcha.
It is.
My favorite way to relax at the end of the long day is
Watching YouTubes.
I like
that
to
too.
learn.
Me too.
So I'll just sit there and if I have a topic that I want to learn
It's
about.
currently guitars.
Oh, wow.
I get to watch lots of guitar playing YouTubes.
I'm sorry.
I just bought.
Thank you
Yeah.
for feeling my plight.
It's not
really
guitar
do.
playing YouTubes. That's not true. I am
Very
researching.
passionate about this.
It's true. I'm researching a guitar that I might want to buy. So I've researched, of course I like Gibson. And so I had a Taylor and it's too sharp. It's just too bright. So I used to have a Songwriter Deluxe Gibson that the tone was so dark and it would envelop
Beautiful.
you. And wow, the bass was just great.
But his favorite YouTube is there's a couple that sold their house and they just go all over on their motorcycle and they live out of a tent in their motorcycle and they have a YouTube that comes out every week.
Well, yeah, once a week. So we
Wow.
watch that. I
So
watch that
that's
once a week.
his, and I end up watching whatever
Yeah.
he's watching. So
Yeah.
But I've really found that I did purchase a Gibson Hummingbird 1960s guitar. So
Okay.
it's in the mail today.
next
Oh,
question.
wow. Praise God.
It's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn. Ooh, my love languages are.
Yours?
Yep. What is my love language?
Sex?
Oh my word, that's not a love language.
Oh, that must
You're
be
such a
mine.
guy.
My goodness.
What is my love language, honey?
You're
Do
the
you
only
know
one
my
laughing
love
in
language?
this.
Your love language is affirmation.
Okay. Whatever you say. honey.
Yes. This makes me feel better.
It is. It's
Honestly.
affirmation.
Yes.
It is. It's affirmation.
Or acts of service.
Well,
Quality time.
not quality time usually.
That's what she likes for presents.
It's baloney.
Oh.
We sit in a car together for 2 hours and
That's
she
not-
doesn't talk to me.
That's not quality time.
That's
though.
not quality time. to me.
Right. No, quality time is doing like what you do. You buy me gifts that are quality time. all
I
the
make
time.
her breakfast every morning.
acts of service.
Yes.
But affirmation. It's affirmation and acts of service. It is not quality time. That's mine. Example. On the way to church this morning, on the way to the theater this morning, I said, look at that tree. Look at that tree. Look at that tree. And I said, don't miss it. You're going to miss that tree. And nothing. There was not even a peep. There was not a sound out of her mouth for another half a mile. And I just waited. And she goes, oh, I'm texting Mackenzie.
I mean,
So it's like complete ignoring me.
no. It goes by so fast. Though.
No,
What are you
see,
supposed to say
listen,
to that?
this is
No,
what happened.
no,
You want to
no,
know the
no.
truth of what happens is he will give me directive and stuff to do, like 3 things at one time.
Did I ask you to text
Never
Mackenzie?
once. You
Did I
said
ask you to
you-
text? Did I ask? The answer is nay, saith the Lord.
No, but I was taking care of your responsibilities because we
Oh.
looked at the clock and realized what time it was. So I was being diligent
I just
to
want
be
to
your
say,
secretary.
bull crap.
To be your secretary. So I was taking care of
You've always
things.
told me you are
And
never going to be my secretary.
by the way, when he did say the tree, I grabbed my
The
phone,
tree.
left
The tree.
text message,
That's
went
not
to the camera,
Oh, people are going
and took
to hell
pictures.
For sure.
And then on the last one, I was like, I did answer. I said, I'm not even going to take a picture. The sun's not out. It's not doing it justice. So I did have conversation. So somewhere your ears are broken. You didn't hear my conversation, which is normal. This is normal. I can talk and have a full conversation, and 5 seconds later, he doesn't even know we had a conversation.
What?
Is that a true man thing or what?
What?
Okay. Your question.
Whose turn is it?
I really don't know. We're just gonna
My love languages are
Quality time and gifts.
gifts are big for me.
Gifts.
I like gifts.
You like gifts.
They make me happy.
What's your favorite kind of gift?
Money.
Just money?
This is true.
Yeah, because then I can buy whatever I want. So I actually always keep a stash. I'm a stash guy. And I always keep a stash. And when I want to buy something, I'll go buy it.
And that is why when I give him gifts, most of the time, I just give him money so he can fill his stash. So when he wants something, he can get it. But I have gotten him some really great gifts.
She bought me a Rolex watch
Oh.
for Christmas one year. That was, wow, I was shocked because that just shows she has a bigger stash than I have.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
but
spend
that was
mine
actually,
as
that was
often
probably
as
the
you
first
do.
time in many years that I was actually shocked at Christmas.
So does it mean something to you when you receive a gift and like someone's been listening to like what you want and they're like, oh, I could get that for him? Does that mean something to you, or do you just like to buy it yourself?
No, I mean, like I only wear her watch on Sundays
Oh, wow.
or special occasions. That's it. So it's in the safe. Never comes out any other reason for that.
Wow.
When other people buy me gifts, most of the time they're not. I get so many trinkets that I literally. My problem is I have this one lady. She was so sweet. I mean, genuinely sweet. She had to have spent $400 or $500 on trinkets.
Oh.
She took a trinket and equated it to a sermon, and I was so grateful. But I threw out all the trinkets.
Oh.
Because what am I gonna do with them? I got no place to put them. I got no more room.
That's kind of tragic.
If you look underneath my sink in the church bathroom, it's loaded with trinkets.
And I think they've started a storage section upstairs.
They did. They
for
started
your
a storage
trinkets,
section.
too.
Yeah.
There's that many.
Okay, anyone listening, if you're going to buy Pastor a present,
Money.
Don't
please
buy a
give him
trinket.
money. Please give him money.
All right,
And
here
it
we
is
go.
genuinely. Some people say, "Well, if I give money, it feels impersonal." No, because then I can buy what I really want
Right.
when I save up enough.
Exactly. And your stuff is expensive. So just give him the $10 and let him add it to his stash, because
Yeah.
then he can get something really nice with it.
true.
I
More
can't
than
go
10,
one
please.
day without. I can't go one day without. I already know the first answer that came to his head. It's his answer. We're talking about me.
Oh.
I can't go one day without.
Reading your Bible.
Amen.
True. That one was easy.
You can tell I'm upset when I.
Get grumpy and short.
Like,
Shut up.
Like, oh, like, like one word answers.
Sharp. Like his answers will be sharp.
Remember, I'm a communicator, so I have great skill when I want to have that.
It's
When you
not
want
really-
to.
It's not really.
If I
great
want
skill.
to, I can slice and dice.
Oh, it's not fun.
My number one best quality is. I just can't. It can't be your answer for everything.
You are probably seriously one of the most generous people that I've ever met.
That's sweet.
It is true, though.
That is very, yeah, it's a great quality.
My number one best quality is. Better say this one right.
That's easy. Your strong faith.
That's really not what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
Doesn't
the same
matter.
answer. The
Doesn't-
same answer
Yeah,
for everything.
Doesn't matter. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Next card.
You make me so happy when you.
I'm
Kenzie,
trying. I mean, I'm trying.
For the same
I'm
answer
trying.
every time.
Yeah, I was writing them out, and I was like, you know what? It's gonna happen. There's no question I could ask.
No, not one of them. All of them, the answer is SEX.
Yeah.
You make me so happy when you.
I make you so happy?
Yes. When you.
I think I overall make you happy because I take care of you.
Yes, you do.
I do take
very
care of you.
much. Very, very much.
Do you have like one specific thing that he does that like just makes your whole day?
He brings me coffee and breakfast in bed every single day.
That's so sweet.
That is amazing.
Well, that's the only way to get sex. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fair.
I told you it's the answer for everything.
Nate's laughing back there. All right. Well, that was great. Not surprised by many of the answers. But we're going to be talking about marriage today. It's a huge topic. You could talk about it for hours and hours and hours. Today well, we probably know the reason. It's because it's a diabolical plot. But the whole idea of marriage between any two people right now is just being thrown out the window. So why should we keep the union of marriage?
Well, marriage was created by God and created for the mindset of it's not good for man to be alone. That means woman, not two women, not two men. A man and a woman. That was what God created. Oh, by the way, that's science, penis, vagina. So, but the main purpose for this, are you all right?
Yep.
Okay. Main purpose for this is not just that they have relationship, but the power of agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So when a husband and wife actually become one, the two shall be one flesh. When they touch one thing, it shall be done. So it is a powerful tool to see the supernatural come to the natural, as well as training up generations to follow God and to be like God. Mm-hmm. So it's probably one of the most generational specific plans to propel the kingdom.
And marriage, the very first command that the Lord gave us was to be fruitful and multiply.
How do you do that?
So without
Going right back to that, this whole podcast.
without the sanctity of marriage, I mean, yeah, we can multiply without marriage, but that stability that marriage brings and family brings is a mirror image of what Jesus has for heaven for us.
Well, they actually did research, and one of the number one problems that we have in America today is a fatherless generation. Mm-hmm. And when you look at prisons, it's filled majority-wise with men and women without a dad in their life. So we've had a breakdown in the family, everyone made fun of Little Beaver. Mm-hmm. Do you
No.
don't remember that? You guys don't remember that show?
I mean, I do because you've showed it.
Y'all need to watch. Go to YouTube.
What's it? It's not even called
Leave It to
that.
Beaver.
Oh, Leave It to Beaver.
You need to watch a show called Leave It to Beaver. And it's an important show. Do I need to move it? The other way. Leave it there. How am I doing? Is that better? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Leave It to Beaver. There was a show that actually modeled a family. In the old days, they had multiple family shows where the father wasn't a pansy wearing around a thong around the house because he's more led by his wife. And they're not strong. Men are propelled as weak, pathetic men. That's what today's men are seen as, weak, pathetic people. Where back in those days, men were strong and they had a strong purpose, they had strong design, and they were leaders in their home. And God called us to be leaders in our home. Men is the head of the wife, according to Ephesians chapter 5. And the ladies, ladies have always, been strong and powerful and probably the strongest influencer to man. But yet they were still submissive, not in a negative submissive and not in a bad connotation submissive, because women are reciprocatory creatures. If the husband treats his wife properly, she'll automatically submit, and it's not submit. So, and then the children were in line and disciplined. Today, we don't even discipline children.
I think the word really would be more of respect, because I love and honor my husband. I respect him. So it's not even like it's difficult. It's not like I have to submit to him, but I honor and respect him. So it's an automatic
Well,
thing.
the Bible says he told the man to love the wife as Christ loves the church, but he never told the woman to love the husband. He told the woman to respect the husband. So when I do premarital counseling or marital counseling, and there's a problem in the marriage, I look at the guy and say, it's your fault. Because if you love your wife properly, you meet her emotional, physical, and spiritual needs, she will automatically, reciprocatorily respond in a manner that is respectful and submitting.
One of the things that we see, and we've been talking about this, is even in marriage right now, we're seeing a mass exodus from the women. Not the men. Right. It used to be men leaving their homes, and right now it is rampant that women are exiting the marriage and leaving the marriage. It's wild to see.
Cheating on their husbands. We're seeing that's mass right now. So it's a very sad scenario as they're leaving a wake of death for their family and for their children.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of podcasts about that, and I think one of the things that I'm hearing about people who are clinical psychologists and have been really studying the differences between what marriage meant a couple of years ago and what it means now is that women are being fed, I guess it's a lie, really, that your career and your accomplishment as an individual is more important and more worth the time and the effort than your family.
Right.
And so these experts are saying that if women don't have their career and their marriage scenario figured out by the time they're at least 35, they most likely don't have children. They most likely don't get married. And then they have this crisis of like, what have I been building? And they feel like their lives don't mean something. Right. But if they get their marriage and their family before that age, then they feel like they're missing out on what kind of woman could I have been if I decided to go to, yes, FOMO. What kind of woman could I have been if I decided to go to an 8-year university or whatever they have now, or if I decided to be a lawyer and push off the whole husband and wife thing for a while. So
my wife is very clear to the ladies is for families, your number one priority is raising your next generation. If you have no successor, then there's failure. And what I want to say about that is because some people don't have children, physically can't have children. That doesn't mean you're a failure. But if you have children and you haven't raised your children properly and they're not following, the problem is they are following you, then you've ultimately failed. How do you usually say it to the ladies?
Well, I mean, if you've birthed children, you're responsible. You are the one that is responsible to raise that child. Like, we're throwing that to society, to culture, to raise the children because women are off pursuing everything but the very thing that they brought into existence. I mean, you brought that child into existence. That's your first and number one responsibility. And listen, you can do all sorts of things. You can achieve incredible things. You can be a lawyer. You can be a doctor. You can do all of those things while still maintaining your family and marriage and taking care of your children. You can do all of those things.
I don't understand where the thought came from if you decide to get married and have children that your life is completely over.
Exactly.
I don't know where that even came from.
It's not either or, but we've done that, haven't we? It's either or.
Well, watch now. Even the society is striving to dislocate the parent from their children.
Yeah.
So the DOJ is now trying to intimidate parents from voicing their opinion to school boards on how I think it's NEA, National Education Association. They actually believe that they're the parent of the child. And they perpetuate that. And they declare that they are raising up the next generation. And really, they are. They are raising up our next generation, and then they go to college, and then they have the professors that are socialists and communists and anti-Godists, And then they filter that in, and the parents have lost their momentum.
Well, even society is now set up with, it's called, I want to say it's like circular. They call it a circular thing where somebody is taking care of the kids at all times. That's why they have the after school programs. They have stuff that goes into the evenings so that literally society can raise children.
It takes a village.
Separate from the parent being involved in the life. And so really marriage is so the world keeps going around. And so family can be strong and established. And that's broken down from the core. And that's why women are leaving and trying to find themselves. And I just want to be happy.
Oh, wow.
But isn't that...
I just told you how many... That just proved how many times we've heard the bull crap.
Yeah.
That is the line. I just want to be happy. Well, why can't I be happy in my home, in my marriage, raising my children? And when we find out how to do that, then we will be successful. And I encourage that. It is mandatory. You have to be able to find out how to be happy in your life without excluding your spouse or your children and running away and exiting it. It's important.
Yeah.
We have to find things every day that make us happy. If you don't do that, you're going to bottle it up. You're going to have breakdown. You're going to run away from your family. You're going to think that everything else is going to fulfill you. And really, if we just learn to find happiness in our situation, make time for it.
Jesus.
Make time for happiness.
Jesus.
Yes, Jesus.
So what are some of the things that you guys set up within your own marriage to make sure that your family was able to not only survive, but thrive?
Well, let's just talk about the struggles we had in the beginning, because we didn't like each other.
Amen.
But
We hated each other.
But we were pastors, and we made a commitment to each other. Divorce wasn't an option. People say that all the time. Divorce not a, but I just want to be happy. Shut up. You didn't buy into this to be happy. You bought in this to be married. Lifetime. Now, of course, if they're committing adultery, that's one thing. If an unsaved spouse leaves saved or kicked a saved spouse out, that's another thing.
Abuse,
like those kind of things. And we're not talking that. I just want to be happy. But with Rhonda, she was married young, and there is a physiological change. So she went from her parents' house right into my house. There was a physiological change, a metabolic change in a woman's body between, I think it's 19 and 21 years old. And I knew that. And so she came to me. Now she had 2 children before the age of 20 and married. And so here we are. She looked at me and she goes, I need a life. I hate my life. I got to have a life. And I looked at her and I said, I'll take the kids. Go find your life.
Did you really have that conversation?
I mean, leave?
No. She needed a career. She needed something. She needed to feel accomplished.
Yes.
So she needed to feel like she was somebody outside of me, because she went right from her parents right into my house. Mm-hmm. So she went to work. She worked for about 9 months. Whatever she touches is very successful. She looks at me and after 9 months says, I miss my babies. I just want to come home. I said, then come home. So she came home for about 9 months. And she looked at me and goes, I hate my life. I need a life. I got to find a life. I said, well, go find a life. So she got a job with Prudential, and she was doing phenomenal. I'm talking wow. I mean, great things. And I watched the kids. And then she says, after about 9 more months, I just miss my family. I need my children. So great. Come on home. And she was always living with me, but I mean, you don't have to, you can quit your job. Then she said to me, I need a life. I can't, I have to have a life.
And the cycle continued.
She did that 3 times. And the last time she was at
Maybe
Liberty
4
Travel.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. Was
and then I was there 10 years.
And then she was there 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But
so
she was
grew
there for
out
10
of my cycle.
Yeah. But she was there for 10 years. And that, really a lot of that was even starting the church. Mm-hmm. So she gave up what she really, really loved, which was raising the babies, every single day. And thank God her mama lived with us. That helped us tremendously. Mm-hmm. But that was, a man has to be able to understand his wife. And you have to be sensitive. not thonging, but you need to be sensitive to where you can meet her needs spiritually, emotionally, and physically. You meet those 3 needs in a wife, and they will always be there for you. And women need 2 things: safety and security. Provide safety and security for a woman. That doesn't mean a nice house. That doesn't mean a nice car. They'll live in a shack with you as long as they feel safe and secure with you. And if you provide those 2 things for a woman, then they will go through hell and high water, and they'll stand with you all the rest of their lives.
What was important for you guys concerning marriage to display to your children?
Very important for them to see that no matter what, we would work it out. So if we had a fight in front of them, making sure we had the resolution in front of them so that they could see how to work out arguments, fights, scenarios.
And we weren't always nice.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, he can be pretty sharp with
Me?
his tongue. So it was just important for our children to see that divorce wasn't an option. So you've got to figure it out. One of the things that we did that was important for us as a family was time together.
Yes.
For him to be present in the home. And I think we talked about it on a podcast, but I think it was important.
Lou Lanphier taught me that.
Well, we sat up also in the mornings. He spent time with the kids and did devotions with the kids and got them off to school. And then we had a split day. So we made sure he was home when they got off the school bus and spent a couple hours, because every night he had something going on at the church. So most people would just be gone from morning till night. But he was trained by an executive, secular man who ended up he was my boss. He ended up getting saved at the church and really mentoring and pouring a lot of his business wisdom into my husband. And one of the things that he said is, make sure you're home in the afternoon for your children. So he did. He etched out, and it wasn't even long. It was just
Probably
a couple
3
hours, 2.5, 3 hours. In the afternoon, where he was home and spent time with the kids. And
we ate supper.
Yep, we had supper. We had supper super early, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's what worked for our schedule.
And then I'd head back to work.
Oh, wow. Do you think it's more important to be a father first or a husband first?
Husband first.
Yep.
Because they're leaving.
That's what he would tell the children all the time. He would say, you're leaving, she's not. So I'm spending time with her.
Right. So we dated every week without the children, which we had no money. Mm-hmm. So that would mean walking graveyards, going down to Watkins Glen and walking. I remember one
It's
time,
like walking graveyards.
Yeah, I like graveyards. And so I remember one time we went to, what was the name of that restaurant right up the road? Do you remember?
Oh, it was Pierce's.
It was Pierce's, which is a really expensive restaurant at that point in time. And I had $25. So I bought her a cup of coffee, me a cup of coffee, and we shared a piece of cake. That's all I could afford. And that's what we did for date night. But we date nighted, and then we did a lot with the family. So I was into archery. We shot archery. This area has a local archery league. We would be at church, go to church, and right after church, our entire family from the age of 4 years old till I think it was like 14 or 15 years old. So
When
well
Pastor
over
Cody
10
was
years.
4?
Yeah. We would leave right after church, go to the archery shoot, have hot dogs or a hamburger, then go out and as a family shoot the 3D course. Mm-hmm. We'd get home around 4 or 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, but we spent all day together. And that was really big. And our kids talk about those memories all the time.
Oh. So what happens inside the husband or the wife when you don't want to spend that time together, or it's not a priority to you anymore? I'm sure you've gone through that when you're like, I don't really feel like hanging out, or maybe I just don't have time. What's going on in a husband or a wife's head that makes you kind of want to put that time on the back burner? What leads to that?
What leads to that?
Yeah.
Is lack of relationship.
Yeah. I think we were very fortunate because our pastor demanded that we date. And this was really early on in our marriage. So we learned
92.
the right way early on. And unfortunately, I don't think this generation is even taught that.
If they come to my premarital class, they are.
Right. I mean, we model that and we teach that. And that's, again, premarital counseling is so vital. You're sitting down with people that have wisdom and knowledge that can develop and train you in these things. It is so absolutely important. But this generation is not taught that. So men don't know that they're supposed to spend time or value time. Women don't know. It's not modeled. It's not taught.
Yeah.
I mean, we do teach it to as many as we can. I mean, we teach it and we speak it all the time, but it's so important to have that. And I just think it's not there. So it's great that you're doing this podcast too. So listen and pay attention to what works. And the big thing is not just listening, not just hearing it and saying, oh, I wish I had that. That sounds great. But actually doing the stuff. Like we had the pastor in our life that demanded it. Like you have
She said she would fire me.
Oh, wow.
You have to date your wife. You have to spend quality. And you do. You have to maintain and develop a relationship. If you don't put oil in your car, if you don't put gas in your car, it's going to break down. It's not going to work for you. Marriage is the exact same way. If you're not putting into it, and people don't.
Right. People don't.
Just don't put into your marriage. You have to put in your marriage or it will break down.
I talk about buying a car. Now today, buying a car is probably the average car payment's around $500 a month. So 5 times 12 is $6,000. And then you've got probably at least $2,000 to $3,000 worth of fuel. So let's now just say we're at $8,000. Then you got insurance, which is at least $1,000 a year. There's $9,000. And then you've got to get at least 3 oil changes a year. So there's another $350. So you're near $10,000. And you're putting that in something you know you're going to throw away, but you put nothing in your marriage and you want it to last forever.
That's
It's
good.
just foolish.
Well, I think it goes back to what you were saying when you said many of the men in prison were raised in fatherless homes. And I know, like, just from me and Jalen's experience, that's something that we like kind of had to wake up to. Like neither of us really had any example. Right. I mean, we've been taught very well by you two. But just being raised in an environment where there wasn't any relationship even being displayed, there was nothing. His mother was single. My mother was single for most of the time. So now we're just like, wait, how do we even, like, what are we supposed to be doing? We're only 2 years in and we're like, oh, we don't even know what we're doing. Right. But you guys had the same experience. I mean, your parents were together, but they didn't really have the greatest marriage.
They got divorced at 25 years. Her parents got divorced at 25 years.
25 years together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? After 25 years?
Yeah.
Crazy. But both of us had the exact same scenario. Yeah. And no, relationship was not modeled.
Yeah.
No, it was not modeled at all.
And so it is. It's a choosing. I want to make this work. I want to be different. I want my children to be able to grow up in a different environment. And it doesn't happen by accident.
No. Right.
Marriage is work.
It is work. I hear this one all the
work.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we fight so much. I think it's better for the children that we're separate. Actually, statistically, it's wrong. That's not true. Yeah. It's better for the parents to be together, to raise the kids and work it out. Grow up. One time I had a couple in my office. I got really mean. I looked at it and says, grow up. You got married. You laid in bed. You said you got kids. Grow up. You're both so stinking selfish. Grow up, mature, and treat each other properly. You treat people better that you don't even know than you do your own spouse. You need to grow up. Mm-hmm. You are so selfish. You're going to damn your family because you are so immature and so self-centered.
What's the first thing that you guys do if you find yourself in those little phases of just arguing and bickering and you feel like you're just not connecting? What's the first thing that you guys do to try and fix that?
Have sex. No, I'm just kidding.
You're not kidding. That's the funny thing.
No, sex does fix things. You know what? I'm glad he said that. Honestly, that is one of the first areas that you will see and be able to identify that there isn't a relationship going on. If you have omitted sex from your marriage, you have to put it back in immediately.
There was a great show on secular television.
Yep.
It was called, what was it, 21 Days of Sex or something like that?
Something like that.
So what they did was they took couples that were on the brink of divorce, and they said, we want to do a TV show, and you've got to commit to, maybe it was 30 days. You got to commit to have sex every day for 30 days.
And some of these were already separated.
Oh, yeah.
And like on the
They
brink
did
of signing papers.
all of these people, and it didn't work for only 2.
Wow.
Every
Because
single one of them
there is a
restored.
spiritual connection, a physical connection when there's intimacy, and it is a God thing. So intimacy is extremely important in the melding of who you are as a couple. And so actually it used to be that the women were always holding out. And in the last probably 7 or 8 years, we've seen a lot of men holding out on their wives. It's crazy to me. I don't understand it. I mean, maybe I'm just a different kind of guy, but I enjoy sex. And so it's amazing to me now. It used to be always the women would hold out and say, well, I'm going to make them pay. Now we're watching the men do that. It's like craziness.
And the Bible tells us not to withhold sex from one another.
Why? Do you remember what it says? Your body is not your own.
Right. And so that the other person won't be tempted.
Right.
But we're seeing it a lot. We are seeing it a lot that sex has been removed from marriage. You cannot do that. So listen, I'm telling you right now, if that's one of the things that you have omitted from your marriage, you need to put it back in right away.
Yep.
That's one of the quickest ways. It's wild. It's so simple, but it's one of the quickest ways to remedy almost everything in a marriage. Like we said, that secular TV show didn't even have anything to do with Jesus.
Nope, nothing.
All those marriages, except for 2 of them,
Or restored.
were restored completely, and they found relationship with one another again.
It
So
blows me away when I hear a couple say, well, we're intimate once a month. What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
no.
So I did statistic many years ago because we do premarital counseling. And usually the first year of marriage, people like rabbits. They're going to have sex once or twice a day, at least every other day. By the 5th year of marriage, it's once a week. By the 10th year of marriage, it's once every other week. And by the 20th year of marriage, it's planned once a month. And it's like, dear God.
Yeah.
I had a couple that were in my office.
Don't
They'd
be
been
a
married
statistic.
18 years, and they were getting a divorce. And I looked at them and said, when was the last time you guys had sex in the back of a car? And
Don't get people arrested, honey. It's
Hey.
illegal.
Is that illegal?
Yeah, if you get caught, it's public indecency or something like that.
hey,
Wow.
it's worth a shot. Sometimes you need an adrenaline rush.
I had no idea that was illegal.
And the guy said, I don't know, like 18 years ago. I said, well, you guys need to go home and go find a field and go have sex in the car. And they didn't. So he found somebody else.
Wow.
So I mean, sex is a big part of marriage. It's not a small part, but a big part.
Okay, I
of
want to
marriage.
finish this question though. So you said, what would be the thing to do? What do we do to remedy when we're finding ourselves at each other?
Yeah.
Sex, definitely. But the other one is you can always tell when you haven't been spending time with Jesus. Like,
Bing, bing, bing,
yeah.
bing, bing.
we identify that in each other. And you have to be careful because you might get something thrown at you when you say it.
Yes.
But you can tell when somebody isn't spending
You
time
can.
with Jesus, and we call each other out on it. Like at this stage in life, I can tell you honestly, there is
Very rare.
I mean, I don't even know the last time we argued.
Be
It's
quiet.
really
Wow.
amazing time in life. It was kind of when the kids left. There was nothing to argue about.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
It was
Oh my
it was
goodness.
amazing. But we had built relationship. We made sure we dated. So I mean, I know that's not the story for everybody. Sometimes
Empty
more
nest.
fighting starts after the kids leave because you haven't built relationship with one another.
Your
So-
identity is in your children, their sports, what they do, rather than each other. That's why I always told my kids, she's leaving, you're not. So
You're leaving. She's
yeah.
not.
Something like that.
I'm not leaving. But back in the day when it was heated arguments, it was.
Kids.
When were you in your Bible today? Have you done your devotions? Have you spent time
she said
with
bad
God?
things to me.
Yeah, so that's a hard thing to bring up, but it's good to hold each other accountable because that is an area. If you are in right relationship with Jesus, you're not going to be acting that way. You're going to consider the other person more important. You're going to be kind. You're going to be gentle. Your tongue is not going to be sharp like that. So sex and your relationship with Jesus, I think, are the
if you're
two.
expecting to be corrected by your spouse and it's going to come out really exciting,
Yeah.
that's not true. So that's why your relationship with the Holy Spirit is so important, because to be corrected by God, and he'll realign you. You know, we look at a car, and if you can tell when a car is not in alignment. Now, the worst alignment I've ever seen was a car literally driving like it looked like it was driving sideways. But most people's cars aren't out of alignment that much. And all of a sudden, you're out of alignment because your tires are wearing wrong. If you leave your car in that state, it's going to wear out your bearings. It's going to wear out. Your car will literally destroy itself, even if it's out of alignment a little bit. So constantly keeping Jesus Christ as your number one. Number two, making sure that you are actively working on your relationship.
Yes.
Number three, making sure you're modeling for your children, reading your Bible, praying, loving God, going to church. If you want a successful generation, it's not going to happen unless you model it. Kids only parrot their parents.
They don't do what you say. They do what you do. That's a hard reality.
Yeah.
I used to drive school bus, and the greatest cussers on the school bus were the kindergartens. They'd be dropping the F-bomb like crazy. And I didn't really get mean. I didn't really get strong with them because they're only doing what mom and dad do.
Yeah.
Have you been able to see in real time how your words have affected each other's performance, whether it be as a husband in the home or as a pastor or any other area? Have you seen how that can affect
I remember
each
when
other?
she told me she hated me.
Did that affect how you pastored? Did that affect how you felt?
That affects your whole life.
Yeah.
Words are powerful. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me is not true. But I remember I was probably more mean to her than she was to me. But I remember the day she told me she actually hated me, and she meant it. It was in the house in Newfield. I was on the couch. You were over near the stairs at the split level.
Hated him then.
And she looked at me and she goes, "I hate you."
That's rough.
It was rough. It was the first 4 years of our
I
marriage.
say 2. I say 2. She says 4.
Both are right.
But we had to learn, because when it boiled down, I had made a commitment and a covenant. And divorce was not an option for my life. And I had to remind myself that divorce is not an option. So I needed to spend as much time as I would planning leaving or planning my exit. If you spend that much energy on how can I fix it and how can I make it work, look it, we're making it work. It's amazing. Like you're not expending any more energy.
No.
Then if you're planning your exit, then you're planning, all right, divorce isn't an option, so what can I do differently?
Right.
So,
what books do I need to read?
Yeah.
What seminar do I need to go to? What do I need to do to invest, to learn the skills?
Yes.
Because it's usually all about skills.
It is. Absolutely.
Learn the skills to make my marriage not only work, but to be happy in it.
Yeah. But if you're at the point where you actually hate someone, what was it on the inside of you that decided to take on the responsibility? Because I would be thinking, if you're making me hate you, it's that guy's responsibility to fix it, not mine.
I honestly believe one person in a marriage making a change can change everything.
Absolutely.
I do not believe that it has to be both people. I think that's
Wow.
a lie and a fallacy
I think it's a
that
fallacy.
people get stuck in and causes more divorce. I am 1,000% confident that one person making change can change everything. And I can tell you, in our marriage, it was him
That changed?
that changed. He
Oh.
made the change.
I had to. You you're only husband or wife as you've been taught. Mm-hmm. So my model of my ma is a phenomenal lady. My dad, he was really not a great husband. He was a good dad as growing up until he left us. I think I was like 15 years old. But he was not a good husband at all.
I don't want you to be like that.
Right.
But he was. So he actually took time, and I think it was the series Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Something like that.
That he first just got a hold of. Like, I don't know how to do this. I'm clearly broken and this isn't working. Let me get knowledge of how to do that. And when he made just little tiny, it wasn't even like drastic. He didn't change everything about him. It might have been one little tiny thing. It changed everything in our relationship.
Wow.
So one person making changes, I've seen it. I've experienced it. Laura Doyle is incredible. She is a name. Look her up. Find her whole mission. She's not under any kind of Christian or religious label at all. Her mission is just to wipe out world divorce. And she's saved so many marriages. And it is on that same premise, one person making a change, because people are reactionary.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
People are just reactionary. So if I change my action, the reaction is automatically going to change.
And she used to prophesy to me.
Yes. That was one of the big things that I stopped saying what he was actually doing and speaking what I wanted him to be. So when he was being obnoxious and ornery, I would just say, you are absolutely the best husband in the whole wide world. You are so sensitive and
so
caring.
Angry.
I am so thankful that you are so caring and so sensitive. So that would be my response to his ornery, obnoxiousness, rather than, so even on either side, the action or the reaction changing changes
That's good.
the whole outcome of the results that's happening. So yes, one person can change your marriage.
But I just want to be happy. You know what the problem with that whole philosophy is? If you're not happy where you are, when you leave, you're still unhappy because you're still going.
there.
Yeah.
And people don't get it. It has nothing to do with your environment. It has to do with you. Mm-hmm. And if you can get yourself to the place of consistency with Christ, consistency in joy, the joy of the Lord is your strength, then you can actually walk in any kind of scenario and still remain in the joy of the Lord.
Yeah.
And joy is contagious. And if you're in a struggling marriage, speak life, get the joy in your heart. Oh, I just want to be happy. I deserve to be happy. Listen, happiness is not what God promised you. Joy is what God promised you.
What's the difference between those?
Oh, huge. Happiness is an emotion. Joy is a state of being. Love, joy, peace. The word joy there is the fruit of the Holy Spirit, or personality of God who dwells inside of you. Mm-hmm. It's no longer I that lives, but Christ that lives in me. So when you allow Christ to live through you, the joy of the Lord, which is your strength, will bubble out of you. I just quoted that this morning I sent it out to the gentleman that I send out verses to in the morning. Do you remember what that was? Joy. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Without strength.
Right. Without joy, you have no strength. Without strength, you can't resist the devil. And then if you can't resist, then you can't have victory. So it boils down to a lack of joy.
Wow.
All of it. Like, joy is what brings us strength, which gives us the ability to resist, which gives us victory. So without victory, we're missing joy.
Right.
And again, joy is a choice.
It's a choice.
No matter what's going on around me, it doesn't have to rob me of my joy. And the problem is we're looking at temporary things to try to bring us joy. If you're reaching for a temporary thing, I just want to be happy, it's temporary. It's going to leave. When we find joy in what Christ has created us to be, then it's not temporary. We didn't get it from a temporary thing. Therefore, temporary situations won't be able to remove us out of joy. So joy is absolutely so vital for successful life and marriage.
Yeah.
I would also encourage people to jump on YouTube. It's called Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage by Gungor, Gungor.
Mark Gungor.
Mark Gungor. It's free. It used to be. I used to have couples spend $75 for it, but I wouldn't marry them without it. And it gets into the difference between how a man and a woman think. It gets into intimacy. It gets into how to deal with real marriage issues, and he's hilarious. So I encourage people, and in fact, if you're having problems with your marriage right now, you need to invest before you bail. Because you know what I found? Again, I'm sorry.
Listen, when you leave, it's just easy to leave. You're setting up yourself up for a pattern of leaving. And guess what? It's going to be another issue with another man.
Yep.
I am always saying, why not deal with the issues that you know about? Like, you're in this situation, you don't like it, you know the things you don't like.
Right.
So you run away from that to something you have no idea what you're not going to like about this next one.
Right.
So you have to get in, you find out all the stuff you don't. And it's always going to be
Always.
stuff. Listen, they're men, we're women. You do not think the same way. You don't function the same way. We've got to learn how to figure it out with the person that we're joined with, because the moment you leave, it's easier to leave the next time. And what are you buying into next time? You don't even have a clue the scenario that you're buying into next time. It could be so much worse than what you're dealing. It might not be, but it could be. But you've left. So it's just easier to leave and leave and leave. And so we've created the cycle of just running away and not working these things out. And so when we learn how to work them out, we're just going to create stable marriages. And man, does our society
that
need
guy
it.
is showing me more attention. He'll show you attention until he wins you.
Yep.
And then, listen, if they're going to cheat with you, they're going to cheat on you. You know, so what makes you think that you've won them? You were a challenge, and they met a sexual need for you. You got the rush. You won the prize. Now you got to go back to living real life. Now you got to fix the problem because you just left the problem. Now you got a new problem because now you got trust issues because now you know he cheated on you with you. So is he going to cheat on you when he's with you? Of course he is. Or she, because we're watching that huge now. Women cheating on their husbands. So this is where it's like gets so messy. You're there in a marriage. If you especially listen, I believe this without any question. If you're both born again Christians, there's not one marriage that can't make it. The only reason a marriage can't make it if you're born again is if you choose not to submit to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. What are well, let's take it this way. What's the biggest attack spiritually on marriages that you're seeing today?
Again, I would just go back to that selfishness. I just want to be happy. And again, it boils down to your spirituality. If you are not in the Word of God, if you're not going to church and you don't have that consistency, that will be the result. And it won't take a long time. Like, I know when you're not in the Word of God, like that was one of the things he said, I can't go a day without it. I literally can't go a day without it. Maybe people are stronger and better than I am, but unhappiness will set in almost immediately.
Yeah.
It will not take long. And then when you get that, I just want to be happy, you start looking somewhere else for your happiness. And like Pastor just explained, you're looking at this scenario and it's like you're in this delusion of euphoria because that person is cheating.
Yeah.
Like
bing,
you
bing,
think
bing,
it's
bing.
this great and when they are cheating. They are wrong. They are wronging you because you're in a marriage relationship. So it's just crazy delusion that you think that's going to make you happy. And isn't long. So your relationship with Jesus, maintaining church as a regular, normal thing. And I even say not just Sunday morning. Like society has become maybe every Sunday morning, maybe once every 3 weeks. When we grew up, I was in church every day almost. Like church was our life. There wasn't anything outside of church. We went to have fun at church. Like you got to see your friends at church. It was your life. So I would say not even once a week church attendance.
Right.
Be in church every time you can. It will just cause such a solidity. And if you're solid, then you're happy. And if you're happy, you have healthy relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I think we did well with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consistency is everything. You know, you got to go through your...
Stay in. Fight for your... Spend as much energy as you are trying to get out as staying in. And we're going to see marriages flourish. And we're going to see our culture get better.
And we need to see our next generation get stabilized.
Yes.
They're stabilized through the marriage. And if you will invest in your family, you know, like Rhonda said, I did devotions every morning with my kids. I remember when my son told me, I don't want to go to church anymore. I said, you use my toilet paper. You sleep on my pillow. You don't own that pillow. That's my pillow. You will go to church. You eat my food. You will go to church. Well, I don't want to go to church. I don't have to listen. I don't care if you listen or not. You're going to church.
Find another place to live.
Yeah. And we told them that. And honestly, I would let them go. Get out. Because I am not going to change the principles I know that work. People say to us all the time, how can we have your family is just, they all love God and, you know, your grandchildren love the Lord. And how did you do it? Consistency is everything. If you make this work, your family generationally will go and be productive. If you don't, if you are not going to church every Sunday with your family, man up. Come on, guys. Man up. Take the panties off and put on some bloomers or something. Man up. Tell your wife to get out of bed. Get your kid, well, she doesn't want to go to church. Go without her.
Yep.
Lead your families. Stop being, I'm sorry. I have things I just want to say. Stop being.
Okay.
Yes.
Jelly-backed.
Yes. Yes.
Is that a good one?
No, that's too weak.
Jelly-backed.
But there are so
Man
many
up.
men that are not men. They're not being who they're called to be. And you can use all the, well, you know, I wanted to go to a football game. Well, you know, I wanted to go do this. I'm hunting. Get out of the friggin' tree and get your family to church. Well, the woods is my church. Really? Where's your family? They're still in bed.
What's the role of a man in the family?
To lead.
What does that mean?
To lead means you are the one taking the front and your family will follow you. So it's not always popular. I realized that when my kids started hating me at 14 years old, I looked at them and said, I've not been called to be your friend. I'm your dad, and I'm going to train you how to be successful. If you don't leave my house and you have the skills and the ability to be successful when you leave my house, then I have not been a parent. I've been your buddy. You don't need a buddy. You, as a father, your job is to lead them, show them how to treat the wife, show them, number one, how to love God. Show them that you're reading. If your kid never sees you reading the Bible, they're not going to read their Bible. If they don't see you pray, listen, I prayed in the Spirit all the time walking around my house. Not because I'm a pastor, but because I'm Micheal Spencer. Because there are a lot of pastors that aren't going to heaven. I could have been a pastor not going to heaven. I chose to serve God. So them hearing me pray in tongues, them hearing me go to church. We're going to church. I remember I told my kids, you will work, go get a job. And that's great, but you will not work on a Sunday, and you will not work, I forgot youth group, I think it was Thursday nights. Those are the 2 nights you can't work. Well, Chad came to me one time and said, well, they booked me to work on Sunday morning. And I says, oh, let me call them. Hi there, this is Chad's last day. Just want to thank you for having him as an employee, but he will not be coming back to work any longer.
Wow.
Well, what do you mean? I said, you booked him on a Sunday. I told you he'll never work on a Sunday, and if he does, that's his last day. But... So is he working or not? No, he's not coming in today. I said, that's right. Cody would do a football game once a year. We had allowed him to do once a year.
On a Sunday?
On a Sunday, once a year. But then if there was another game, sorry, you're not going. But I have to go, or I can't play the next game. Looks like you're not playing the next game.
And how do you see you putting those boundaries on his life at that age? How do you see that reflected in his adult life now?
Well, he is a monster in the spirit. Both of them are monsters in the spirit. And if you watch them now lead their children, they're leading like their daddy led.
Mm-hmm.
So they are leading their children. But they didn't just get that. They were taught that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you watch your generations, and now I'm watching Sophia, I'm watching Julian. The other day, Julian was so funny. He's in the kitchen with a guitar on his lap,
Aww.
and he's strumming it, making up a song about Jesus.
That's so cute.
Where did he get that? Well, he didn't get that just from his father. His father got that from his father.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that from my father. So I chose to be the change for generations.
Yeah.
So every husband will change literal generations if he'll be a real man, put the booze down, stop smoking the weed, stop cussing, be faithful to God's house, lead your family spiritually, lead your family emotionally, lead your family, and bring them into success. Show your boys how to work. Show your girls how to work. When my kids left a job, they always begged them to stay. Why? Because my kids, I never let them sleep past 7 a.m. Ever. Get out of bed. Saturday morning, get out of bed. Get going. I made them work. Hey, I need you guys to, I'll pay you $5 to clean my car. I don't want to clean your car. Good, you're cleaning it for free now. Get out there and clean my car. I taught my kids how to work. And as a husband, as a father, what I taught them, they're now parroting to the next generation. Mm-hmm. So I've always taught this. What you want your family to be, you must be now. What you want your family to be in 2 generations, you have to model now. What you want the church to be in 2 generations, you must model now. Because how you raise the generations will be.
Mm-hmm. So we weren't handed this. Neither of us had those examples. So it doesn't matter if you've come from no example at all. You can make the change.
You can make the change. No excuses.
What would you say to, well, I guess I'll go over to Pastor Rhonda first. What would you say to a woman who might be struggling in her marriage or in her family, and she thinks, well, you can say that the consistency is everything, but my kids are almost out of the house now. So what change should they make now if they want to change
drugs.
Take
drugs.
It's never too late to start. I mean, you've got to, at some point, teach your children how to make it through things, how to be successful. So it's not too late to start. Start today.
Start today.
Every day is a brand new day and a brand new opportunity. How awesome for them to get to see that change in their parent right now. So even if your children are teenagers and you haven't been consistent and haven't done these things in the past, you can start doing it now.
Yeah.
Model it now. That's awesome. They will get to see you do it. Because again, they're going to do what they see you do.
Mm-hmm.
I watched some parents, and they got saved late in life, and their kids were right on the precipice of graduating and stepping out on their own. And I could never understand, after many years, that their kids never came to the Lord. Couldn't understand until COVID. When COVID hit, they went into a cubby. And I saw what their kids saw, that they said they believed in God, but they actually didn't have faith in God. So their kids pre-saw what I didn't recognize until stress came.
Yeah.
Now I understand why their children didn't want Jesus. Because they saw what I didn't see until their faith was tested.
Wow. And being able to live your faith about who you say you are and actually being that at home is...
Your kids know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody was accusing me of bad things one time. You're just an evil man. You're this, you're that. And I said, what's interesting to me is I have 2 sons in the ministry who serve under their father. If anybody knows me, it's my children. If anybody wouldn't follow me because I was what you're telling me I am, it would be my children.
Corinne would have been out first.
Corinne would have been out.
She would have been the first one.
Peace out.
And it amazes me that my children are able to look at their parents. They know our flaws, and we're definitely flawed. I'm more flawed than she is. She's perfect.
You're perfect.
Aw.
But it is when your children are willing to follow your example, it means that you have led well. Mm-hmm. And when your generations follow your example, it means you not only led well, but you trained well.
Mm-hmm. And see, that doesn't mean being perfect. Like, seriously, if you mess up, it's okay. We messed up a lot along the way. We were not perfect.
Stop fighting, Mom and Dad. Stop fighting.
Yeah, we would hear that from the back. So, will you guys stop fighting?
Aww.
So we weren't perfect, but we modeled what not perfect looks like and how to resolve that and how to get through that. So I would say, too, to people that feel like, oh, well, you're saying I have to be this perfect example leader. No, just get back up. Just keep going. Just keep showing them the example of maturity and growth and consistency, because you don't have to be perfect. You just have to lead.
Yeah.
Yep. And the kids will be you. So I'll end with this thought.
Yeah.
The parents that are not bringing your children to church, you are in a self-destructive generational mode. If you are allowing your children to do anything else on a Sunday morning besides being in the house of the Lord, you're not bringing your kids to youth ministry or children's ministry. You are in a self-destructive mode that you will see, sadly, generationally perpetuated, and you will regret it later, but you can't fix it later. You can only fix it now. Mm-hmm. So be men. Lead your families. Get your family out of bed. Well, I don't feel good. I don't care if you feel good. I have preached when I literally was dying, not figuratively dying. I was literally dying. I had an infection. I had lost 30 pounds. I would literally have to take a chair while I was preaching and lean against it, use it as an example. They didn't know it, but I was dying. And they told me that I would have gone total sepsis in my body if I hadn't caught it, I don't know, in a week or before I did. The week I did. So, but my kids saw me. I was in church. We're going to church. Well, you're the pastor. No, I don't care if I'm the pastor or not. You're going to church. When I'm on vacation, I go to church. Get your family to church. Show them. Lead them. If you will do that, you'll be successful. Honestly, the only thing you have to mark your success is not your money. Money cometh, money goeth. But your family will mark you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that does it for this episode of the Behind the Scenes podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, B_Behind the Scenes podcast, on Facebook, B.Behind the Scenes podcast. And this episode will be available on all platforms that you can listen to. Excellent. Have a great day.